Welcome to the Arts Connect Learning Series. We're really excited to gather today to really lift up and celebrate the work that working artists slash teaching artists slash administrators slash wearers of many hats play in our creative community and support the work just outside of their organizations, outside of their practices. You know, at Arts Connect, we really believe that the creative community is kind of an interconnected web. And we are able to do the work that we do because we have that support through our communities and through others. So we are so welcome to invite you in to this space. This is the Arts are SmART session 4. I'm going to ask that everyone stay muted during the presentations, just to counter some noise. So we are here at session 4 of Arts are SmART. This is Career Day in the Arts. We are so grateful to have working professionals from the field in all of the 5 creative disciplines that are considered fine arts in HISD. So that includes creative writing, that includes dance, that includes music. We have a multidisciplinary artist that broaches all of these areas, and it also includes theater. So Arts are SmART was a series that came out of a collaboration with Rise Campuses and Arts Connect. We heard interest in creating a support structure for the parents and family members of students that are interested in the arts. Sometimes it can be a little daunting to support a student if you don't consider yourself an artist. So our goal with this series has been to kind of pull back the curtain and share a little bit about how people work in the arts, how they support each other, how the arts actually integrates with so many other disciplines and so many other fields, and how parents and family members can do the little things to support the process and the big things. We are so excited to share the artists that we have with us today. So first off, in our creative writing category, we have Outspoken Bean. Outspoken Bean is the most recent Houston Poet Laureate for the city of Houston, an amazing writer, a performer, an educator, and an administrator. In our dance category, we have Elijah Gibson. Elijah is a dancer, an educator, the executive director of Social Movement Contemporary Dance and Theater. There's so many other hats that Elijah wears, including being a collaborator and just a nice person. For music, we have Emma Wine. Emma is a composer and an arts administrator, and I'm just going to brag on Emma a little bit. Emma's working on a children's book right now, so talk about all the hats. And in our multidisciplinary category, we have Yet Torres, who is a performance artist and an arts administrator and so much more. And for our theater category, we have Jasmine Morgan, who's an actress, an artist, an arts educator, and an arts advocate. So the structure for today, we really want to hear from artists through their perspective. So what we're going to do is invite each of these artists into the space to share a little bit about their practice, how they came to this work, and how they're building community through their practices, both as artists and then all the other hats that they might wear in the creative arts realm. So we'll go ahead and kick it over, get started with our friend Outspoken Bean. Are you here with us, Bean?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, everyone. Making sure that my background was not trifling and looking weird. Hello, everyone. My name is Outspoken Bean. I am a poet. I do spoken word performance poetry, and I have been pursuing this as a career for about since 2009, right? I graduated in 2008 from Prairie View A&M, and here I am still doing this work. I'm very proud of this work that I do, that I get to do. And recently was the poet laureate of this great, beautiful city that has adopted me and taken me in, Houston, Texas. Um, Epi, do you want me to do a few poems? Do you want me to perform, or you want me to go into the next person?
I'd say that if you feel comfortable giving us a performance, I think everyone would love it.
I feel comfortable doing a performance. I feel that everyone should prioritize rest more, right? Um, and it's hard to do that in this capitalistic nation, country, society that we live in. But rest is your friend. It's kind of a superpower, and this is a lesson I had to learn the hard way recently. I feel that you know, if you're so busy grinding, you will grind until you are ground, and none of us are coffee. So with that, I want to share this poem with you. It's called "Rest Assured That My Rest is Sure." That my capacity is not tied to my capabilities, and in order for strong to strengthen, then strength must rest assured that my rest is sure. That my capacity is not tied to my capabilities. And in order for strong to strengthen, then strength must rest. Expanding my rest is bridging a gap that will soon be closed. Watch what I pull when I rest. Expanding my rest is pushing and shifting a mountain without the exhaustion of pushing. Watch what I move when I rest. The expansion mantra is now all issues will be taken lying down. This is where the hamster's wheel becomes the hamster's will, where if one, what it used to be was if one lives by the hustle, then you don't die, but you hustle by the hustle. You're not even given the gift of death. There is so much loss. In the words of Rick Ross, it could be a reimbursement from the cost. So when every day you're hustling, every day you're hustling, every day you're hustling, every day you're stumbling, every day you're struggling, every day I am becoming a slave to myself when I don't release myself to rest. The the prefix of the word rest is re, meaning uh, back or again. So when you rest, you reassure, you evaluate, you reacquaint, you remaximize. There's a reversion of you to redo while you are relaxing. When you are at rest, your body is at opus. I mean, it's at reopus. And we know this. So rest assured that my rest is sure, that my capacity is not tied to my capability. And in order for strong to strengthen, then strength must rest assured that my rest is sure. That my capacity is not tied to my capability. And in order for strong to strengthen, then strength must rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Bean. That was amazing. And what a great way to get us kicked off talking about people's practices. Much appreciated. And we always love hearing from you. Next up, I will introduce Elijah Gibson into the space. Elijah, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elijah Gibson. I am the artistic director of Social Movement Contemporary Dance Theater. Um, I want to second Bean. I think we need to rest. And it's interesting. I was just talking to one of my dancers about this earlier, but I don't want to go on a tangent. So I just want to jump into what we do. Again, I've been doing this for a long time, originally from California, moved to Texas when I was in high school, went to college here, found dance. Sorry, I'm at the school and they're doing an alarm or something, but went to school for biology and found dance in college and started studying that, and it just took over. You talked about the aha moment. That was it for me. Moved to Chicago, danced there professionally, and then
Mm.
moved into higher education, went out of the country for a bit and did some things, and then came back, and now I'm here in Houston. Started the company in 2019, right before COVID, and we actually survived that. And So we have been, this is our fifth season, so we're celebrating season 5 in June, which I'm really excited for. But what a lot of the things that we do, our mission part of it is community engagement, and we are passionate about arts education. So what I'm going to show you, I want to show you just a really quick reel of our company, but then I want to show you another video that we have through one of the we had quite a bit of things that we've done in the schools with our partnership with Arts Connect. We've gotten grants, and so I kind of want to show some of that stuff because we're really passionate about that and how we work with students, whether it's in school or after school programs like I am here right now in Westside High School. And I just letting you see it, I think will be a lot better than me talking since dance is so visual. I'm going to share the screen and pull this up. Here we go. So going to our website, I'm going to go to this immediately because one of the programs we were able to do is instead of just going in and teaching dance, we also want to talk about the historical content behind the practices as well. So they're not just learning steps, but they're also learning a lot of the history behind the dance and also learning how themselves and their backgrounds, and they're all a part of this dance form, especially in America, this American dance. This is melting pot. So everyone's a part of it. So what you're going to see in this clip is we have some of my dancers in the company teaching modern dance, tap dance, hip hop, jazz, traditional Chinese dance, and it all culminated into a final performance. And they also had to do history presentations as well. And so I'll just get this started and let you watch this. All right, stop share. Then I am, and it's interesting when Epi asked me to do this. Of course, I immediately said yes because all of the outreach stuff that we've been doing, Arts Connect has been extremely instrumental in helping us with these projects. So I want to thank you all for that. And also, I want to show you just so you can see the work that the company does because we have dancers from various backgrounds, but I love that we can actually come together and it's really just about one, the movement, the physical movement and the movement, just what we're trying to achieve and the things that we're talking about within our work. So this is just our choreography reel, and I'll go into that. And if you want to see any of these things, you can most definitely access all of this on the website. That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Elijah. That was amazing to see in action. So next, I'd like to invite Emma Wine into the space to share a little bit about your practice.
Amazing. Thank you, Epi. My name is Emma Wine. I am a composer, and my composer name is Emma Kent Wine because if you Google Emma Wine, it only comes up with wineries and wine bars. So if you want to find me, you got to use the middle name, and that's what I do too. I wanted to just share with y'all a little bit about my journey as an artist, because I do agree with Epi that every one of us here wears a lot of hats. And I have a path that has not been straight, and it's been a really cool and hard journey to be okay with not having that kind of straight path. So just really quickly, my parents are not musicians, but both my older siblings did play instruments. So I was kind of surrounded by music. At a young age, I started playing cello, and I was in my elementary school choir and my elementary school orchestra when I was 8. I wrote my first piece for my high school choir, and my choir teacher changed the course of my life. I think that teachers are the most important people in the whole world, and they can see things in students that parents and siblings and family members and friends can't see. So just like big love to music teachers and arts teachers. I participated in I grew up in Tucson, Arizona, and participated in the Tucson Symphony's Young Composers Project when I was in high school after I wrote that first piece. And just FYI for totally new people, a composer is someone who writes music. So in classical music, there are instrumentalists that like play music on the page, and composers write the music that goes on the page. So there are also some composition programs in Houston, and I think that lots of students can have the same kind of trajectory that I did, going from music in elementary school to kind of loving music and then doing these extracurricular music things as well. And then I went to Rice, got a degree in music. After I graduated, I decided to take a little break from music, and I worked in coffee and part-time for a bunch of Houston arts organizations. It was really amazing to have the connections that I built in college when I decided to make Houston my home, because it's just a built-in network that you don't have to work that hard to create, because you're just in classes with people and you have professors and co-students who become co-workers, and professors who become mentors. So I think that that is kind of a takeaway that I have looking back, is that being in a school in a city that I loved was so helpful, because then I could just stay in the city that I love and have all of these connections. I started working full-time at an organization called Ars Lyrica Houston, where I'm at now. It's an early music organization. I started off as operations associate and have now been promoted to operations and outreach manager. So there is like a big upward trajectory when you have a life in the arts. And then I've also done a bunch of gig work with the symphony and the opera and lots of other organizations doing teaching, helping with shows, helping with front of house. And it's been great. It's been kind of amazing. So just like as some takeaways that I have, arts teachers are incredible. I would not be where I am without my music teacher. And I think that that's probably true for all of us here, that we definitely did have one or two teachers that just realized that we had a lot of potential and then cultivated it and made us into these people that we are today. The arts, as we all know, provide a lot of soft skills, leadership skills, teamwork, communication, analytical skills, big picture thinking, organizing, all of these things that I learned as a musician in orchestra and in choir and writing music and talking to people are things that I use every single day and things that have allowed me to really thrive in my career. They also provide hard skills. So when you go to arts school or music school, you don't just like sit around and play music all day. You do a lot of research, you write papers, you take academic classes, you plan logistics, you learn marketing and entrepreneurship and schedule planning. And I think that the biggest takeaway is that I worked hard in college and I feel absolutely confident that I can have a job in the arts or literally anywhere, because I think that the arts prepare you for life. And just as an aside, Rice is one of these great schools that when you get an arts degree, they also require you to take classes in other degree areas. So I had to take math and science classes. I also had to take humanities classes. And then my music classes were another facet. So again, I feel really prepared for the rest of my life because I had all of these great experiences before I graduated from college and then afterward, just building connections. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Emma. It's great to hear the progression and specifically the educational journey that you took. And thank you for sharing so much about all of the different opportunities that there are to work with different organizations within the city. We have such a supportive arts community here. So next up, I would love to invite Yet Torres to share with us about her amazing multidisciplinary, multifaceted practice.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to share the screen. I do have like just one image that I can share. Okay, awesome. So yeah, my name is Yet Torres. Yet are my initials. So I usually go by Y.E. Torres, and as an arts administrator, go by Yet Torres. And I'm essentially a performance artist, a specialty entertainer, model, an educator, and an arts administrator. And as a performance artist and specialty entertainer, I work within the flow arts, I work within belly dance, and I'm also a fire dancer. As an arts administrator, I'm the public programs and CAM lab manager at Contemporary Arts Museum Houston. And within that role, I essentially curate public programs and manage our residency. And so my journey has been pretty long. I am 47 years old, and I think that I've danced, performed, and created visual art since before I was 3 years old, but I often say since I was 3 because that's the first moments that I remember performing. And I've always been multidisciplinary, and how I know I've always been multidisciplinary is because I've always been doing more than one creative form, even to the point that I have dual BFAs. I have a degree in drawing and painting, and I have a BFA in fashion design. And I also hold multiple dance and yoga certifications. So I'm very driven by collaboration with other artists and have gotten to do a lot of my work in collaboration with other artists, bringing it up emerging artists as well as working with established artists. And for me, a month of work essentially looks like a couple of different things. Not only do I have my full-time position with the Contemporary Arts Museum, wherein I am working 5-day-a-week, 9-to-5 job within the arts, but I also have my hustle or my actual personal creative work, which is also full-time. And that looks like public and private performances, where I teach. I have private students. I perform privately, and I also mentor a handful of emerging artists, both with movement and in multidisciplinary work. I do hold a studio. I have a studio in the East End where I teach my private lessons and mentor artists. And I perform pretty regularly, as I mentioned. My next performance is actually in June at the Orange Show, and it's family friendly. So as I said, I'm a lifetime creative, and within that, I feel that I could be doing anything as a creator. I don't just look at myself as an artist, but I look at the work I do and know that as long as what I'm doing is creative, I stay happy. And I'm just, I carved a place out for myself where I'm actually, working for a museum and still able to do my full-time work as an artist. And that took years of really evolving and sticking to just a creative field. I have been working in galleries and museums since I was 16 years old. And I did have the privilege of going to the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts. And I do think, regardless of what high school one goes to, that there's the opportunity to work within the arts. You can reach out to museums and galleries, the Contemporary Arts Museum. We have a teen council. We have a paid staff of teens that work with me and within my department. So just putting that out there as well. I am from Houston, and to just answer one of the questions that was asked is, did my parents support me? I just wanted to mention that my parents have always supported me. They just didn't always understand what I was doing, why I was doing it, nor necessarily want me to do everything that I got into, but they definitely wanted to support me. And when they didn't support me, I found others that did. And that was usually through like my schooling, and so I just want to also mention that my creativity is kind of just like exudes in everything. And I definitely have a moment in my life, probably as a youth, where I decided that everything that I was involved in had to have a creative aspect. And I just want to reiterate that, what we're looking at are these creative fields across the board, and there's lots of options by which one can do creative work. I have done everything from working in museums and galleries to teaching privately to performing regularly. I've attended artist residencies. And so there's like a slew of opportunities. And again, like I eat and breathe fire, and that's like one of my main forms of work while still simultaneously working at a museum. So kind of everything is possible. I think that's what I got.
Everything is possible is just the most fabulous way you could have ended that. Thank you.
Mhm.
So we'll now ask Jasmine Morgan to share a little bit about her practice with us.
And I'm not sure how to unshare my screen.
You just did. All
Okay,
good.
perfect. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine Morgan. I am an actress, educator, and arts advocate. I plan to share a little more about my experience and my journey becoming an artist during the panel segment of this event. However, right now, I am going to share with you a body of work written and performed by Ernestine Morrison entitled Average Black Girl. This piece is not just a tribute to our civil rights activists and cultural superheroes. This piece is also a powerful reminder of what it means to be Black and female in America. This is Average Black Girl. They say I'm not an average Black girl because I'm so well-spoken, poised, and full of etiquette, a white man's token. I remember my ex's mother telling me, I didn't know how I was gonna react when he brought home a Black girl, but I like you because you sound white. Well, when did me sounding white equate to me talking right? They say I'm not an average Black girl because the pigment in my skin is just a shade lighter than that Black girl over there. You know, that Black girl with the nappy hair, that Black girl whose elbows can't skip a day without lotion, that Black girl whose hearts and heads is filled with self-hate and bottled up emotion, the cocoa brown girls who have to face society every day and be tough because no matter how good they straighten their hair, their good still isn't good enough. Oh, but see, luckily for me, I don't fall into that category. They say I'm not an average Black girl because I speak with so much class and I don't have too much but just enough junk in my pants, and I don't have too much but just enough pizzazz, you know, just a little bit of attitude, because you don't want to come off as those Black girls that come off as rude, popping their gums and shaking their necks, because Black girls like that don't get any respect. But see, for me, I get a pass because the melanin in my skin matches that brown paper bag. And the men that I date and my father and my brother pants don't sag. Oh, and when I speak, my tongue pronounces every syllable, and the combed part down the middle of my hair is naturally visible. Oh, it must be a wig or a weave, or she must be mixed, because we all know Black girls don't have that good ish. Oh, they say I'm not an average Black girl. Well, let's go ahead and flip the script and rewind this ish, repaint the lines that have been blurred over time. Because the average Black girl that I know, the average Black girl that I know made 19 trips through the Underground Railroad and freed the slaves, sat on segregated buses, refused to give up, and paved new ways. See, the average Black girl that I know, were Egyptian queens like Hatshepsut and Nitocris, ruling dynasties and whole armies of men. So excuse me while I set fire to my point in my pen, because I'm tired of the Black stereotypes that Black girls have fallen into because of this American mentality, but not half as tired as Ella Baker, D.I. Nash, and Septima Poinsett Clark. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Miss Fannie Lou Hamer, Daisy Bates, Anna Arnold Hedgeman, and Dorothy Heights are probably more far tired than I am. So pardon me if I can't accept your compliment, because I'm not half the Black girl they were. And as American society continues to pour these supercilious words onto me, I say no. I'm not the average Black girl. I can only aspire to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. So I'd love to bring all of the artists onto screen now so that we can have a little discussion about your journeys, and want to kind of kick us off here with a question that some of you have touched on a little bit already, but I'm going to hone in a little bit more about the aha moment. I think that as creatives, the aha moment that you're an artist can come many times, multiple times over the course of your life. The question that I have for you is, what was the aha moment for you when you decided this is what you wanted to do as a career? That you were all in and nothing else was going to cut it? And I'll just open up the floor. So anyone who'd like to share, just jump in.
With me.
Go ahead, Bean. Go ahead, Bean.
Yeah, with me. So, you know, I wish I had man, I mean, I look back at it now, but it's so me though. But I got into poetry because it started off with rapping. It started off as rapping, inspired by my brother, and then when I was a kid, all the way through high school, even a little bit in college. But you know, when there's like a bunch of people in a circle, that's called a cipher. They're all like saying different rhymes, and at Prairie View, it's really hot. And I would see this guy, or not to see this guy. I had a friend of mine who was a poet, but he would play guitar, and he would be in a cipher as well, but it was surrounded by girls. And so that's what really started me saying, all right, I'm gonna start doing poetry. Like that's what made me start doing poetry, was like to talk to girls. And then I started doing like the open mics. I started doing I started like organizing. I didn't know that's what it was. I started organizing and found out about slam. So when I realized I wanted to do it full time, though, I had graduated from Prairie View, and and I was still coaching the Prairie View Slam team, and we had to go to regionals in Corpus Christi. We had to go to regionals in Corpus Christi, and the current poet laureate of Dallas today, now, Joaquin Santiago, he was there doing a workshop. He was the MC and he was doing a workshop. He had just won IWIPS, which stands for Individual World Poetry Slam. He had just won 2009. He won in 2009. And I was blown away by him. And after like the whole series was done, after the workshop and everything was done, I went up to him and I said, "Hey, I'm not a student. I'm coaching the youth team. I'm coaching the Prairie View team. Do you do this full time?" And he said, "Yeah." And I was like, "How?" And he said, "Where I started was NACA and APCA. These are the college circuit. And that's where I started." And then he started giving me names. He was so giving of information. I talk about it a lot. He started giving me names, people to talk to, agents to talk to. He gave me more information that I even knew what to do with at the time. And he was like, "This is the route you need to go so you're not staying in your car." And I was like, there it is. And yeah, so that was in 2009. That's what made me say, or 2000, yeah, 2009. I was in 2009, and I was like, I'm gonna give this a try. And I've been doing it ever since.
I'm so glad that you brought back around the idea that like it just takes support. It just takes someone being giving and telling you that one, you can do it, and two, here are the few things that you need to get started.
Yeah, he gave me a bunch of that. So I'll let someone else talk.
Yeah, would love to hear your
Yeah. Well, for me, I've definitely had moments in my life when I was younger, like in my early 20s, where I've had sort of normal day jobs. And I literally physically got ill from working non-creative jobs. Like they were like heartless to me. I wasn't able to express myself creatively, and just found very early on in my life that if I wasn't doing what makes me happy, for lack of a better way of putting it, I would get physically sick. And so therefore I just like sought to find opportunities that in the education to put me into successful places within the art world. That's it.
Love that, like, framing joy as part of your everyday. I think that that's actually something really important to lift up. And I think that that's true for many creatives, that we do what we do because it brings us joy, and joy and purpose kind of live in this like nebulous place. Sometimes a little more joy, sometimes a little more purpose, but Elijah, you're muted.
I thought I was sorry. When I from San Diego, and when I was there, I started taking tap. And it was really just randomly. I was at a park, like a park and recreation center during the summer, and they were offering these classes, and my friends and I were playing, and the teacher invited me in, and I took, I think, 2 classes that summer, and then the summer was over. But something about it, I just fell in love with it. So I would practice on my own. And then I went back that next summer, and that teacher was still there. And I went and showed her what I could do. And she asked me, she said, "Who taught you that?" And I said, "I taught myself. I've just been practicing all year." So she's like, "I need to speak to your mom." So that's kind of what started me taking dance. And again, it was, of course, recreational. I was young. And then when we moved to Texas when I was in high school, that was hard. Just we moved to Bryan College Station. And it was, at that time, it was like if you were a guy, you played football. If you were a girl, you were a cheerleader. So there weren't really any dance studios there. And then we ended up finding this studio, kind of danced throughout high school, finished that whole thing, went to college, and I didn't even know you could get a degree in dance. I went to school for biology, and a friend of mine invited me to a show. So I asked her, I'm like, how do you get to do all those dances? And she said, I'm a dance major. And I'm like, a what? And so, long story short, I ended up end of my sophomore year, I changed it to my minor, and then I changed it to my major. My Not so much my dad. My dad was a little bit more supportive, just because he actually was an artist. He was a singer, was in a band. He danced when he was younger. My mom was the one who was a little apprehensive. She was in banking her entire life, so she was like, okay, what's going on? And then, but something about it, I fell in love with it and ended up getting a job right out of college, moved to Chicago, and that's just been it ever since then. I mean, I guess that aha moment when I was in college, I realized there was a way for me to learn and continue to study and make a living out of it. And so once I went there, and I think it was 4 years into the company, my mom finally came to Chicago to see a show, and she saw that I wasn't eating cat food and I was supporting myself and was able to make a living, and that it was legit. So she stopped pestering me. But then, it's interesting. After that, she kept begging me to move back to Texas and open a dance studio, and I was like, no. But here I am, years later. So yeah.
Mom won in the end, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
I think you brought up something so important, that there's like a pathway to make a living
Hmm.
in the arts.
Yeah.
It's not a clear path. It's not a roadmap. It's not necessarily as straightforward as going through the steps to become a lawyer or a doctor, where you can look up, well, this, then this, then this. The arts doesn't work that way, but there's certainly ways to make space and build the life that you want to live.
Most definitely. And what's interesting is when I got to that company as well, we all had such different backgrounds in our training and what kind of dance we actually did. And everyone's pathway was different. Again, me starting a little bit later studying, but some of them have been doing it forever. And so, I mean, it's even as an educator and teaching in higher ed, we come in and we want our students to graduate and get jobs dancing. But what happens is they start to realize that there are other things that they're interested in the arts, and they don't have to be a professional dancer to support dance. I mean, we need some other people on the other ends of it to do things. So for me now, it's about helping them get to where they want to get, and the dance is just one of the tools, the things they learn in dance to help them realize and get to where they want to get. They don't have to actually be a professional dancer. There's arts administration, there are teachers, there are so many other things. There are people who go into being therapists and who work specifically with dancers. I remember that was the one thing that we were fortunate to have, is all of our physical therapists were dancers, or had dance experience. So they were able to treat us and not, help us heal and treat us not as if we were a football player or a basketball player. And that's really important, because some of the exercises, we need them to be specific for other things. So there's so many things you can use dance for, and it doesn't have to be a professional dancer. But again, there's the arts, it just umbrellas so much. And so, yeah, I'm glad I found it and I had that aha moment. And now I'm trying to help, well, I'm helping other people realize those things as well. So, yeah.
How about you, Jasmine? What was your aha moment that this was it, this was going to be your career?
So it really wasn't an aha moment for me when it comes to choosing this career, because I've known that I wanted to be an actress since I was in middle school. I think the aha moment for me was learning that my process to becoming an internationally acclaimed actress is going to be a journey and not a destination. So even if I was to book a reoccurring role on a top rated show on Netflix or BET or VH1, I realized that one, that's not the end. There's still more room to grow. And two, if I don't book that role, it's not the end. There's still more room to grow. And I had to realize that when it comes to acting, it can take an actress 5, 6, 7, 10 years before they get their big break. And so when I graduated from college, the waters were very murky for me, because I thought, having gone to Howard University, where Taraji P. Henson graduated and Felicia Rashad, and I studied theater and I studied journalism, I thought I was gonna come out to this big blue world and have all these roles on my table. And when I realized it didn't work like that, I had to turn into education. And so just to piggyback off of what Yet Torres was saying, was that as long as you find a job that's related to the arts, then you can still have that stability to go out there and chase your dreams, because the road to becoming who you want to be in this industry may be a long journey, but as long as you're able to be somewhere in the vicinity. For example, maybe education is not your thing, but you love acting. Maybe you can pick up a job at the Alley Theater. Maybe you can pick up a job at the movie theater. Maybe you can land a job at a talent agency. As long as you're somewhere in the vicinity of doing what you love. For example, now I'm an arts advocate with Arts Connect Houston, where I help campuses identify art programming needs for the students that attend their schools so that they can give these students access to the arts, which is something that I've always had access to. So I'm so glad that I'm able to help these students who need access to the arts. And I am going to be teaching theater in the fall. So it's like, even if I haven't landed my dream job right now, I'm okay because I'm still practicing, teaching, and walking in what I want to do daily. And so that's my advice to parents out there who have students, that are wanting to embark on these artistic journeys and you don't know how or which way to steer them in. Just help them understand that as long as you have a job and you're able to take care of yourself, you can do whatever you want to do and you can make your dreams come true.
Yeah, I think having the fearlessness to pursue your dreams has to come with having the support to pursue your dreams. And that really takes people in your life, whether it's friends, family, educators. It just takes having someone believe in you sometimes and see that there is a path forward. And especially on those days where you may not see the path forward and it just feels a little rough, having someone in your life saying, no, get back to it. It'll be fine is so important.
Absolutely. And can I say one more thing to that?
Of course.
Also important as an artist not to compare yourself to other people, because a lot of times growing up, I thought, oh, I can easily be a teen star. Look at Keke Palmer, look at Sky Jackson, not realizing some of their parents quit their entire careers to help manage their careers. And a lot of times, you have parents and families who are not willing to give that up because they love what they do. And you're going to be the only one there to motivate yourself and to push yourself, and that's okay. But just don't compare yourself to other people because you're going to get to where you have to go eventually.
So Jasmine, you actually beat me to my final question for all of you, which is great. Is I think you've all touched a little bit on those support networks, who in your family, who in your education cycle, who was there for you. I would love to hear everyone's piece of advice to students that are out there right now in schools around HISD that are interested, that are thinking about that. What does it look like to have a career in the arts? What's your piece of advice to get them going, to kind of light that fire and let them know that it's not as only is it okay, it's possible, it's real.
For me, and it's one thing that I wish I had done even earlier on in my career. Most definitely post after I started, but just all the resources. Right now we have this Arts Connect, and the people who are watching and your teachers, we're all connected. And so there's always help, and there are answers to help you get to where you need to get. But I would most definitely stay open. And no, it just means not right now. It's going to take work. So I would just stay persistent on what it is that you're doing and be open to things. Don't be afraid for change. Those are all these things are part of it. So I would just keep going. Don't let the adversity stop you, because that creates strength to me.
That's great.
I think that I would say to students to cultivate a sense of appreciation for the journey. I think that a lot of us have touched on this, but as a high schooler, I thought that my path was going to be super straight, and that I would go to school for music composition, and then I would get a master's degree, and then I would score films, and then that would be my job for the rest of my life. And I think that maybe in some life that could have happened, but in my life it didn't, and that's totally an okay thing. So I would definitely agree with Elijah. Stay open, love the journey, and love yourself on the journey. I think are the most important things.
Love that. Any other advice out there?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, my advice would be to just be encouraged. Know that just like Elijah was saying, it may not happen when you want to, but a no is never a no. And it's also important to understand that, you know, when it's your time, it's your time. And you have to prepare, prepare, prepare. Because in your head, you may have this vision of who you want to become one day, but if you aren't diligently working on your craft on a daily basis, when it's your time, you may fumble the bag. So just continue to prepare, continue to be encouraged, and understand that it's going to be your time. But when it's your time, you want to be able to rock that stage out and not mess up. Yeah, and just keep going.
I would say, so I'm big on analogies, y'all, and storytelling. I'm a poet. I work with a lot of writers, a lot of young writers, a lot of young poets. And I hope this story translates. I don't know if it's true, but I still like it until I share it. It gets the point across. The statue of David was made by Michelangelo, right? Not the turtle, the person. And what's unique about Michelangelo, in when he got commissioned by Rome to construct it, right? I haven't seen it in person, but it's a goal of mine now. But it was it's about 8 feet tall. I know some people have seen this, about 8 feet, 9 feet tall. And it's all marble. It's one big block of marble. One big block of marble. And marble, not like the countertops like at your home and such, but like marble is really, really it's not the best place to sculpt with, because it's not the best rock to sculpt with because it's really fine and it's easy to mess up, right? And so this is why we have a lot of those old statues that were made around the same time. Now they don't got arms and legs because they were built in pieces. And Michelangelo was like, "Nah, I want it to be built in one piece because I want it to be timeless." And you know, we have social media now, but social media then was people pulling up to your work, talking ish about you as you're working. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man just did the Sistine Chapel, and they like, "What are you doing?" Right? People are upset that he's doing this not the way that it needs to be done. He's crafted. They're like, "We're wasting money on a piece when we could have got someone else to do it the way we know statues to be made. Why are you using marble?" Right? It's expensive. It's one big block, right? And he just kept chiseling. He just kept chiseling. One day he decided to entertain one of these people who were not chiseling, by the way. He decided to entertain one of these people. And the quest, I guess the question, I wasn't there, but I guess the question was like, why are you building this statue this way with this big block of marble that's really hard? If you mess up, you got to start over. And his response, Michelangelo that is, was, "My David is in the statue. It is my job to bring them out." We as writers have a ready excuse of writer's block. But actually, writer's block is not a roadblock that happens to pull up into your stream. It's not a dam that falls into your stream of creativity. You have to chase your inspiration. Your writer's block, you have to chisel your inspiration. You have to chisel. Your writer's block is always there. So you have to keep writing. You have to keep writing because your David is there. Your David is within you, but you have to chisel. Writer's block is never an excuse because it's always there. That's the metaphor. That's the story. You have to keep going. right? You have to keep going. It is something that is, you have to keep going, and stopping is not quitting. I don't believe that. I don't believe stopping is quitting, because we need rest. Quitting is quitting. And if that's what you chose to do, there's noble reasons why people do quit. And I'm not going to say, but if you are going to do this, if you are going to go into this craft, no matter what it is, it's really hard. It's really hard. Taxes, they treat you like a business. You got to pay them. There's going to be a lot of things. I think America really kind of punishes you being an artist on the front end, and that front end can be for a long time. So if you are going to go into this, just know that you're David. Your work of art is within this block, this creative block that you have to chisel on, and that's my advice.
Thanks, Bean. Yet, would you like to close us out with a piece of advice?
Yeah, I'd like to mention that in the arts, there isn't always professional development at a college level, nor at a high school level. And I encourage one to look at arts organizations within your area. We're very blessed in Houston to have Fresh Arts, who now have a program called Artist Inc., which offers professional development in Houston for emerging artists and established artists. And there's various resources online as well. And I think that more resources have come to fruition since the pandemic. So I just wanted to mention that professional development for artists is often like hit the ground running and do it. And since we're creatives, we can be successful at that. But, at some point you need to learn how to do your taxes as an artist. And so just putting that out there, that professional development is something that one should always be seeking, regardless of what stage they are in the arts. And also that we're creative. So really we get to make up what makes sense for us. And we may find a day job that makes us very happy while doing our creative work on the side. And so being a lifelong creative doesn't mean that you have to do work just in the arts, but it does mean that the work you do, whatever it is, has some kind of creative outlet for you. One can be very creative baking cakes or making food or simply walking dogs, which is not simple. It's very complicated because I have 2 dogs and I know how hard that is. But I just wanted to put that out there, that being an artist and having a career in the arts can mean that you are creative in your garden and very creative at a job that may not seem like it's an arts related job and still is.
Thank you for that. And thank you for sharing the resource as well. I think that's always really helpful. I am so grateful to all of you for sharing your time with us this evening, sharing your perspectives, sharing your wealth of knowledge. We are so grateful on behalf of Arts Connect. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone in the audience who joined us this evening as well. As I mentioned earlier, this session will be recorded and then shared through the Arts Connect YouTube channel. So you will be able to access this later, share it with young people in your life who may need that little bit of inspiration or a little bit of support and needs to hear it from someone who's doing the work out there right now as we speak. And I will leave us here with the Arts Connect web address. So if you're interested in following up and finding this session, resources, the list of all the amazing arts partners, arts organizations across disciplines that are available in this city, just jump onto our website and you can always reach out to our team. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you.
Have a good night.